Good morning, everybody. This is Vincent Meza, Listings to Leads. Let's give it a minute here. This is the call for top tools for more listings. So let me know that you can hear my voice, excuse me, and see my screen. And do me a favor, let me know if you're new to us, how long you've been with us, and um, do you have listings or do you not have listings? That's always helpful. There's actually tools to help you if you don't have listings, and there are things if you do have listings. So give it a minute. Good morning, Arif. How are you? You do have listings. Okay, great. Before we get started, I'm going to share with you something. Scott and I just had a call with this gentleman here. Okay. And his name is Leo Nicolouzas. And it was a really interesting call. So you're going to hear about him probably in the next few days here. He has 10 listings in 10 weeks. Now, I do want to I am going to give you the short synopsis of how he was doing that. Hi, Denise. But I can tell you, he's been putting some work into it. Okay. He's using our tools. He's got his system, but he's definitely been putting work into it for a lot of 2025. So it really boils down to having a good, solid, system and follow up and things like that. But I asked him today, we just got off the phone just a few minutes ago, if we boil it down, what is he doing? And what he is doing is he has our print listing presentation. I'm going to show you this in a moment. He has two versions. This is the one for expireds. And there's another version which is just standard. How do we sell your home? It's the same document. But one has the word expired. So if you're reaching out to expireds, you probably want to have this in your hand. What was interesting is he said he has 40 of each, right? 40 expireds and 40 standard ones that he has ready printed up. I think he said he was getting them printed over at Staples. We do make these available to you from Mailbox Power, but he spoke to the Staples people, said, hey, I'm going to buy these every month. Can I get a deal? So he says he's got a really good price, right? You're going to see his call where we're going to do some editing. It'll probably be up in the next couple of days. Then he has a greeting card / postcard that he sends out, and he has an email campaign, and he has phone calls, right? So he's working a good number of expireds every month. And so last year, I think he'll give you the numbers. I can't remember what they were, but to say that he's got 10 listings in the last 10 weeks, it's pretty interesting. So it gets me to the point where I want to start today's call, and that is to talk about the listing presentation. Because we could talk a lot of about a lot of things, and we will a little bit later, about how to run ads and how to market and capture leads, okay, seller leads. But the key to turning those into an actual listing is really going to be like, what kind of tools do you have, and what kind of hi, Angela, new person. What kind of tools do you have to convey to a homeowner that you are the person to list with, right? Now, if you go into your account over here, listings, and you go to listing presentation, you'll see that there's a flipbook version right here. So let's look at that real quick. I think I've got it open right here. And this really speaks to the automated marketing that Listings to Leads has been doing for many, many years. Okay, but last year we've had this listing presentation in a PDF format. You could print it out, but then we converted it to this format, which is a flipbook, and this is very useful. You'll have an introduction. It says, this is how everything we do to sell a home, right? You want to get this in front of people. That's just the short story, okay? Paid advertising, social media marketing, YouTube marketing, print marketing, nearby homeowner letter, right? Email marketing, Database. How do you market the leads that are in your CRM? Right? We have tools designed for sphere of influence for the homeowners to share, right? The goal is when you're selling a home, obviously, is to attract as many interested buyers and, to get multiple offers and get the top price for that homeowner. This really describes in a very simple format that's understandable and comprehensive and powerful to homeowners that you are the right person to sell their home, because you're going to be going through all this. And when you go over and you can go look for Leo inside the mastermind group. He's getting a video, and he uses those videos in his emails as in his drip campaigns, and he uses them to engage leads multiple ways. So when you hear this, you'll hear him talking about it. But I was very specific at the end of the call. I said, I want to make sure, like, how sting the listings, like what's your first thing? And his first thing is, I'm getting these print in their hands, 80 a month. I think he said he did 40 transactions in 2024, something like that, 2025, and he's shooting for 60. And so obviously, if you're putting 80 of these in expired marketing's home, and you're going to be talking, you're going to be increasing your listing count. When that call comes up, it's well worth listening to. He had a lot of really helpful information. So the listing presentation that I showed you, as I'm showing you here in my hands, you can get this printed by us. We use Mailbox Power. I think it's about $10 each. There's a setup fee. It's about $70. And then you can order them in groups of 10, 20, or 30, right? And as I said, Leo there is using Staples. He took the document and he took it over to Staples, and they're doing it at, I think he said, even a better price. But I want to point out here, this is my listings page. And, I have listings for sold properties. I have listings for active and pending, stuff like that. Open house here. But I also have one for canceled. I have one for an expired, and I have one for a FSBO, and I have one for a listing presentation. And they all have one thing in common. They all have a unique list, name of the person, right? They have their own unique flipbook listing presentation. So if you have, excuse me, if you have an important listing that you want to speak to, which could be a canceled, it could be FSBO, it could be expired, it could be maybe it's just a seller lead that you really want to close, and you just get over the finish line. You can create this in your account. You notice that you got the homeowner's name and address on the cover. How do we sell your expired home? And that photograph is actually a photograph of their home. Okay. So the listing presentation that I showed you, it's kind of the same, except instead of the generic photos that Scott and I put in here, it's their home. So they can see what their home's going to look like on YouTube in print, right? They can visualize how you are going to sell their home. This is very compelling. It is helping so many agents close listings, even straight up rookie agents. Like, let me just take a moment and go over to our website. It's over here. These three people here, John Summers, JJ, like 3 years out of high school for listings in 60 days. This lady here has been in the Coast Guard for 20 years, retires, moves to Florida, gets a license, meets somebody in her neighborhood. I think just walking around, he was talking about possibly selling their home, but she doesn't really have any tools, right? She's really only been operating as a realtor for 1 month. And she signs up, and I reached out to her and said, hey, I see you're on our system. How can I help you? What's going on? She says, oh, I have a listing presentation. And I really, I found you on the internet, right? I was like, okay, let's go make this, right? We made this the very following day for that homeowner in her neighborhood. And if she's only been operating for a month, she doesn't have a whole lot of experience, right? She just doesn't. That's just, nature there. But that listing presentation, if you watch that video on our homepage, She's like, at the end of the listing presentation, she didn't even have time to ask. They asked, where do I sign? Right? So I've got a listing presentation right here. It's exactly what we did for her. You can do in your account right now. So the question is, how do I get seller leads? Right? Here, we'll just look at it just for, to give you a different example. You have a picture of their home, their name and address, right, on the cover. And as you go through it, well, you can get more familiar with this because this is inside your accounts right now, right? You don't have to have listings. You could be a brand new rookie agent. If you have an account with listings to leads, it's right here, right? Go to listing presentation, flipbook. Okay. So let me show you while we're talking about that custom one. I'm on the listings page. I can click add listing. I can click manual. So I'm manually going to add a listing. And normally we do this for, we make this available for our clients who have something just listed. But I'm going to just do listing presentation. And whether I do listing presentation or FSBO or canceled or expired, they're all going to say, what's their name, right? You put the homeowner's name in there, and it will be on the cover, right? And put the address and add one photograph. That's it. And that is how you create a custom, unique listing presentation like the one we're looking at here. Okay. It takes a minute because, the software has to kind of do that. But once it's there, you've got that hyperlink. And I'll tell you, that's how JJ here has 4 listings in 6 weeks. She was calling expireds and she would leave 2 messages. They would not respond. She would text them one time and say, would you like to see my listing presentation? They still don't respond. And then she creates a custom unique listing presentation and says, well, if you'd like to look, click this link. And as you can see, she has 4 listings in 6 weeks. Okay. That's pretty good. That was in November. We're going to probably have a check-in call with her in April. She was shooting for 20 by March. My sense is she's going to hit that number or get real close. So we'll check in with her in another month or two. Hey, it is March. So probably in a few weeks. So that's the short story, right? You've got if you've got any kind of lead on a listing, you need to think about, can I use this listing presentation to close it? So we know that we've got this really, it's going to help us out. Let's talk about the ways to get in front of seller leads, right? And I've kind of mentioned it before. I will tell you the number one way, and this is not true for everybody because it depends on where you are in the country, right? I know we've got a lot of clients in Canada, and this kind of works in Canada, but not exactly the same way. Can't market the same way as you can in the US. But, in the southern states with COVID, prices were driven up enormously. I think in some places like 50%. And that was really exciting until interest rates kind of went up and stayed up, right? And so interest rates have now created a dynamic where homes are sitting on the market too long and getting either canceled or expired. And that's where having a tool like what we're talking about here today is important. Now, and I want to say before we dive into some of the nuts and bolts of this, Listings Elite's been here about 16 years, and we know a lot about lead generation. That's why we exist. That's why we succeeded, because we know we have multiple ways of capturing leads, from Facebook ads, from Instagram ads, from Google ads, from email, from print tools, from expireds and open houses, right? Not all leads are the same. They're not all equal in quality. Okay. So you want to think about that as you're building your plan for 2026. How am I going to get more listings? Do you want to go for high quality listings, or do you want to go for medium or low quality listings? And they all tend to create business, but some create a lot more business a lot quicker. And at the top of the list, if it's going on in your market, it's going to be expireds, right? We have a lot of clients in Arizona, Texas, Florida, Denver. There's a lot of places where prices went up and they're coming down. Nashville, Tennessee, it's, there's a bit of indigestion, and this is going to help you turn those expired listings into your business. Okay. And that's number one. Number two, and I won't go too far into it, but number two is open house marketing. And it's funny because, I talk to realtors pretty much 5 days a week. And if I broad brush it, I'll just tell you 50, 60% of realtors do not want to hold an open house. Okay. Just like I've done it. It's a waste of my time. I don't do that anymore. Right. And, I can appreciate that. But I can also appreciate that if you hold an open house and you print this document right here that we make available on every one of your listings, whether it's an open house or just listed or just sold, this letter is sitting in your account, and you can even borrow the listing from a colleague to hold an open house, or you can borrow a listing that's sold because you want to market in a particular area and maybe you don't have any of your own listings there. This piece of paper does the trick. Now here it says I got an open house from 1 to 4, so we kind of get what that's about. So if you print this 100 times and you invite the neighbors, those homeowners who are thinking of selling can, one, either get their home value right here from this piece of paper, or they can come and join you at your open house. And we've got some awesome tools to make you look great there, including, one of our listing presentations. Linda, let's see. I was gonna, let's, that's an interesting question. Says, I was going to order some generic ones, but I like the idea of adding their houses and sending them out by mail. Yeah. Some people do that. So let's kind of take a second there. That listing presentation, as I showed, these two people, well, all three of these people all have ordered these. Okay. I'll send you a link on where to order. And these have the word expired right on the cover. So they are going after the expired markets, and they are all crushing it. Okay. There are many agents. We actually hold 4 workshops every week to help you understand and unpack expireds to make them a complete part of your system. We even have this cool thing. I was on the phone with Scott this morning. We're doing a setup of follow-up campaigns, a setup to configure your CRM to email and text these leads as you enter them in. Now, you're going to have to support that with your own phone calls, but that's just a good system to have as a follow-up. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, I was talking about Leo. That gentleman has a serious follow-up going on. He's right here. And I mean, he's got 10 listing presentations in the market, and it's paying dividends, right? That's what's going on. So, what Linda is saying here is she wanted to order these and mail them or get them in the neighborhood, but she also likes that custom look. And I love the custom look, but I think the thing to do with a custom listing presentation is to text it to them, right? And because that, if they're not talking to you and they don't know you, once they see their home and their name on the cover and their address and they see what's going on, they're going to want to talk to you. We know this, right? We have a lot of examples of this happening, right? Then when you follow up and you meet them, or maybe you're going to go door knock people who you never met, having something physical like this in your hand that you can leave behind, it's high quality. It's comprehensive, right? It's thorough. And yeah, there are, Linda, I will say this. If you look in the mastermind group, you'll see that we've talked many times about a binder. If you print this on your computer, there's a thermal binder that kind of makes it look like a magazine. There's one that puts like a spiral ring on it so that you're leaving a custom one with a nice, substantial cover. and you're able to give that to them. That's really cool as well, right? But I can tell you, if you go look at this call here, if you go look on our YouTube channel, you will see we recorded a call with John Summers here in November. And he went out in that call in November. He's saying, "Oh, I'm making these phone calls. I'm leaving voicemails just to introduce myself." Now, these people are waiting 3 months after the expiration. The two gentlemen here, they wait 3 months. Scott Murray down at the bottom, he door knocks and has this in his hand, and he has a great approach. You should go watch it on our YouTube channel. He leaves a voicemail and said, "I would just like to meet you and shake your hand and give you something, give you this." Okay. JJ, none of that. She's calling day one with all the other rookies and leaves 2 voice messages, no response, 1 text, no response. And then she texts them the unique custom flip book. And boom, it's oh yeah, Rick says Unibind. Unibind might be the binder thing, mechanism that you can buy over on Amazon. So there are different ways of approaching expireds. If they are going on in your market, do not overlook this. But like I was saying earlier, there are open houses in your market. And even like, I can't remember, I think it's Angela, she's new, right? New agent. Angela, let me give you the short and sweet. Borrow 2 open houses every week. Have that conversation started on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Get that listing in your account on Monday. Print up this nearby homeowner letter 100 times and walk it around the neighborhood and say, "Hey, I'm having an open house on Saturday or Sunday. Please come by," right? They're going to come by if they want to buy, but they're probably, what you're hoping is they're going to come by if they want to sell, and they just want to see like what's going on, what the market looks like here, right? Now, of course, in an open house, you're going to run a Facebook ad. Really easy, but that's really to let 1,000 or 2,000 people know and capture some buyer leads. The nearby homeowner letter is why people hold open houses. We have teams. If you look at our videos from last year, 2025, we have some top teams and brokers hosting 2 to 4 open houses every week because they meet more homeowners that way than any other way. And let me say time out and repeat what I said. They meet more homeowners. I'm not saying they're collecting leads of homeowners. I'm saying they are meeting and shaking hands. And that's what's unique about expireds and open houses. Okay. So again, Angela, you're a new agent. I would be hosting minimally two open houses every weekend. I would be running Facebook ads on those every weekend. And I would get those nearby homeowner letters out like 100 every, that's 200 every week, right? Get it out. Now, e-flyer for your database, you always want to do this, right? If you're doing an open house, copy this, blast it out on your leads, right? There's an open house sign-in form. I'm going to show you a couple things over here in the media library. And this is the short story. Scott does a call in open house marketing. You can see it on our YouTube channel. You want to invite homeowners into the open house and then have some tools to help the conversation get going, right? And here's a great one right here. It says 100+ marketing plan. And this is a video version of our listings presentation. Hold on a second, Karen. I do not have any listings presently. Okay, Karen. Well, thanks for being here. You'll want to see this. And Denise was saying you do have listings, and somebody else is saying now this, and put it on your own YouTube channel. Click through. You actually have a YouTube channel. Brand it up. Put your picture. Put a what is that header thing on top, and download this and put it up there. This is a fun commercial. Now, the reason I'm showing you is because if you've taken the time to invite homeowners into your open house. Well, now this is going to be telling them how you actually sell houses, right? Yes, Victor has a great question. Yeah, that's exactly. So, Victor, keep an eye for we're doing some done for you expired marketing setup. I was just on a call earlier today where we've got two of our clients where we are setting up Go High Level for the automation follow-up, right? So if you've got a resource of where you've got seller leads expired, well, we're setting up a whole drip campaign, email campaign. We're embedding your tools in. You definitely want to do that. I mean, you can do it yourself, Victor. The short answer is yes, you can do that yourself. And a better answer is email Scott and say, hey, how do I get you guys to do that? We actually just announced it last week. We've got 2 agents we're setting up for both in Go High Level right now. Now back to this video. If you're watching, this is our listing presentation in a pretty cool online format. So if you invited 100 homeowners into your open house, I can pretty much guarantee you 100 homeowners are not going to show up. But the few who do are probably wondering what's going on. What does this house look like? I might be selling mine. And now you have this story that can be showing on an 80-inch TV, smart TV, right? All the smart TVs have a YouTube app now. Just drive the YouTube app on the TV to this, and then have some other tools in your hand, like maybe some of these printed listing presentations here that they can take with them, right? And there's some other cool tools. You each have a PDF guide section. Okay. Now, when you go to PDF guides, you'll notice that there are 40 for home buyers and there are 40 for home sellers. Okay. You should scroll through and look at that. You don't have to download every one of them, but look at the titles of the ones that you think make sense to you. I know tired landlords is a big thing in certain parts of the country. Airbnb, pros and cons. What about downsizing? Are people downsizing in your market? If they are, click on marketing tools. Now, there are multiple ways to advertise just this. Run an ad on Facebook, run an ad on Google. We share it for free on your social media accounts just on the setup, right? If you got any sort of database, so you got leads in your CRM, copy the e-flyer for the database. You can blast it out, copy this right here. This is HTML, over to your CRM, blast it out. People click there to download that report. They can get their free home value there and see a bunch of other stuff for you there. But when it comes to an open house, pick the print flyer. Okay, you can download it. It's got a QR code on it. And notice in my hands here, I've got one in a nice little acrylic tabletop thing. It's branded to me with my logo, right? You want 6 of these, like in a box in your car. Every time you do an open house, put one in the master bedroom, put a different one in the office, put a different one in the dining room, so that as people are walking through, once they see this big video commercial of your listing presentation, 2, they see your brand all over the house, and 3, you might have a really awesome listing presentation to give them if they're thinking about selling, right? Can you show at the end of the class how to add a page of our customer reviews to the listing brochure? I can show you that right now. So what Linda is asking about is when you have the listing presentation, and I'm holding the print one. Let me see if it's here. So on the back, underneath the cover, it says, hey, here's my reviews. Go check out my reviews. Right now, we actually create a client review webpage. So if you have reviews online, we can auto sweep them from Zillow and Google, I think Testimonial Tree. And if you have reviews in your account, we're gonna put. Let's go look at it here. Can I get to the end real quick? We're gonna put it at close to the end, right? So after they've gone through the whole listing presentation, maybe they want to see your reviews. And right there, it says, hey, here's my reviews. Scan that or go to that web address. So how, Linda's question is, how do we? Well, we add that by going to the client review webpage, which is right here. click on ad reviews. And once you get to ad reviews, I think there's a green button here that says ad reviews, and we'll click that real quick. What's going on here? Ad review. So here's where you can import them, like I said, from Zillow and Google and Testimonial Tree. But if you have some on Facebook, you can manually add them. It may have some from Yelp, or you have some wherever, you can do that, right? You can add them. The minute you have even one review, that's going to be on the back page of your listing presentation, whether it's in print or electronically on Flipbook, like we're looking at here. Okay. So yeah, definitely leverage your, if you put your reviews in, we put them in certain tools wherever they are appropriate, and they're definitely appropriate on this listing presentation. So we're going to auto embed it there. Okay. So you don't just get them in. That's the short answer. Okay. Okay. So we were talking about expireds, and I did mention, I'm going to go up here to, you see there's a bell up here on the top. It says announcements when I hit it. If you click this, you will see here that we do 2 calls. Well, we do 4 calls, but we're doing these for you. They're free calls to help you unpack and do everything for expireds and seller lead gen. Okay. So if you have questions, because, I'm kind of giving you a lot of information, but if you want to dive deep on the expireds, you should get on those calls. You won't need to be on them forever. You'll just need to be on them for a while until you understand what's going on. I'll give you kind of an example of that. So let's go talk about an easy way. And remember, I was talking about this gentleman, Leo, who we just did a call with. He's got 10 listings in 10 weeks. And I asked him, I said, are you doing ads? Or because, one of the reasons that people come to us is running ads on our platform is incredibly easy, and you get name, email, and phone number all the time. And it didn't sound like he did, but he said, no, actually I do. I run ads on just listed, open house, and sold. Okay. Now just listed and open house is going to get you buyer leads. Really easy. But sold ads, they're going to get you seller leads. So I've got a sold property here. So I'm going to click market listing, and I'm going to take you through that. So you click on Facebook and Instagram, and let me ask real quick. There's a lot of you out here. Would you just put a yes or no? Have you run a Facebook ad on a sold property with us before? Sold property. And let me say, and just put yes or no. This is the easiest way to capture a name, email, and phone number of somebody who is thinking of selling their home. Okay. And that's really important because, well, expireds it's a little more complicated, right? There might be more cost involved, right? Because you got to print these up. They're $10 each, right? You got to buy a list. You got to find a list, right? There's a little more cost involved. But let me tell you, an expired homeowner was trying to sell their home, and they could not sell their home. And so if you are able to meet them and give them a compelling story of how you can sell their home, well, that's the hottest lead you're going to find. Now here on Facebook, you can run this ad. It says, hey, another home sold in your town. That affects your home value. Click here for your home value. Really easy. You could just click that button right there, create ad, and the ad would go, and you get name, email, and phone number. If we go back to our homepage, you'll see that this office owner right here, Brian Mathewson, he owns the LPT office. That video will tell you, hey, I ran an ad. I got a $4 seller lead in Texas. He's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And that one lead turned into a $400,000 purchase and a $400,000 sale and a $450 purchase. Guy wanted to upgrade a little bit, right? And so a lot of people here are not running ads. I got a bunch of responses to that question. Thank you. If you watch his video, I'm not sure because we edited this one down, but it is on our YouTube channel. I'll point it out to you in a moment. I know he says it in the video there's a video screen where he's teaching his agents how to do sold ads here. But he said while that home was for sale, they generated 114 buyer leads with name, email, and phone number. And they got 3 of those leads to purchase separate homes. Okay. So the buyer side was great. He says, but then now that we sold this home, I flipped it to sold and I ran an ad. And in the first day, I get 1 lead, and he has this AI text follow up. So the AI through the morning was texting this person back and forth. And then he jumped in and said, hey, can I help you? Books a call at 4:00 that afternoon. So in one day, he closes an appointment, right? And that is exactly what you can do with seller leads, because you're getting name, email, and phone number. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of talk to you a little bit about how to convert a lead like this. Okay. Because I think a lot of people have run ads on Facebook. I actually have this conversation. I hear this at least once a week. I have run ads on Facebook. I've gotten no business from Facebook. Right. And most people feel like, especially here, if you're running an ad with our platform, I'm going to click on create new form. When people see the ad, we ask them a couple questions. Do you see this form? It says contact information, full name, email, and phone number. That there's a little window. It pops up on the right. When they see your ad on Facebook and they click on it because they're interested, a little window pops up and it says, would you like that information? And that blue button that says next, it says, yes, submit my info. And they are clicking it. Okay. They're clicking it. And you would think, because we're going to email that to you immediately, you would think, I'm going to call them right now. And they could be looking at the ad and they're still going to tell you they don't know what you're talking about. And that is what most agents experience. They might call them once, they might call them twice, but that'll be about it because they're getting the brush off right there. The problem is, and I'm sure you're aware, there are more scams in this world than we have time to discuss this whole week, right? There's scams coming in your email, there's scams coming in your text, there's scams coming on your phone calls, there's scams in your messages on Facebook and whatever. They're all over the place. Phishing scams, right? So if you call somebody who has no idea who you are, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. They're going to get you off the phone. And usually the response is, I don't know what you're talking about, really. And I'm sure many of you have experienced that. And that's why you want to text them. When we send you the lead, we tell you what they saw, what address, what landing page, whatever. And we text that to you. And so you know what they're thinking about. You should text them first, okay? You should text them first. And that's what Brian, his CRM does the auto texting. We actually have texting available right over here under the leads tab. It's our own AI. So if you're running ads on Facebook consistently and you know you're going to have leads and you don't want to text all those people, you could just turn it on right there under the leads tab, and it will convert 14% of your leads to phone calls. And I'm pretty sure once you get on the phone, you're probably great on the phone. It's how do you get an online lead to a phone call? The short answer is text. The longer answer is use AI. Okay. Now, this form that we were looking at, I kind of was talking while we went through it. We ask questions. You can choose your own questions. They're over here. You can choose the ones that you like. Their information is auto-populated from their profile. They're not typing it in, so it's very accurate. There's some TCPA language, and then it says, great, give us your address to get your home value. Okay. I want to tell you what you do here. If they get distracted and they don't give you the address, you're going to know what they were looking at. They were looking at your ad. You know it's a seller lead, and you have their name, email, and phone number, but you didn't get their address. What should you do? You should text them because you have their phone number and say, hey, I saw it. You saw my ad on Facebook. You were looking for a home buyer, but we did not get your address. Can you send it to me? And I will get it. I'll get that home value for you in the next couple minutes. And they send it to you. And you go over here to your landing page section. Give it a second. And now I actually create a custom one because you can create landing pages for all of your areas, right? Um, the way that this web page works is you drop in the address. Okay. So in your lead, you got name, email, and phone number, but they went away and they didn't give you the address. So you text them, you get the address, you drop it here, and then you click this button that says get estimate. And at that point, it says, great, we have your report. What's your email address? And you drop that, and then boom, we show you the values, the low, medium, high. We will email it to their email address if you put their email address in, right? And you can now text them and say, hey, these are the numbers I got. Here's the low, medium, high. But you should have an email from me as well that has those numbers. Let me know if that helps you. Okay. And just confirm that they got those numbers. That's all, and then you can start to talk about, hey, does that seem high or low to you? I can do a consultation and come have a look and see maybe, there's going to be a different number, right? And at that point, if they have gone through that, they've given you their address and you've got the numbers, whether they're responding or not, I would go and create a custom listing presentation like I was showing you to say, by the way, I'm a realtor and I sell homes, and this is how I sell homes. Because now you have their address, so you can go find this photograph on the internet somewhere, maybe Google Street View or wherever, or just go take a picture with your smartphone. You have their name and email and phone number. So you could create this with their name, with their address, with a picture, and you could text it to them. You could email it as well, right? And now you've got the most powerful tool that's going to help start that conversation about when they're ready to sell. Okay. Victor, the cost of the AI starts, I think, at $50 a month. And it's basically how many leads, it's priced on how many leads every month you think you're going to generate. Okay. If it's going to be 50, I think the cost is 50 a month. If it's going to be 100 leads you're going to generate every month, well, then you have to choose that package. I think it goes all the way up to 250 leads a month, which requires a pretty big budget, right, for Facebook. But I really like, I think, I tell this to everybody I talk to, okay? And we're talking essentially. If a client, because I talk to a lot of new clients as they jump in right onto the system, and they say, hey, if there's a farm market that you want to build and you have listings there, great. Run a sold ad every week. Don't run a 30-day ad. Run a sold ad every week, and maybe even run it for 5 days, just like I showed you, because you're going to get seller leads and you're building that database. And now you know that you have the tools to really engage them, right? And possibly turn those into a real listing. Why? Because it's cheap, right? It's $50. You do a couple clicks, you're going to get like 6, 7, 8 leads, the name, email, and phone number. Are they as hot and ready to go as the expired who didn't sell? Maybe not. Is the open house lead, the person, the homeowner that decided to come by because they're thinking of selling, is that a better lead? Maybe. But these are great ways of building a database and getting, tools. And by the way, Victor asked, what's the AI bot cost? The AI actually works on sold leads as well, right? So it'll work on buyer leads and seller leads. So definitely it's worth that. How do you text a brochure? Is there a button? No. You know what, Linda? That's a great question. So let's talk about that. Let's say I was talking to a FSBO, right? I found a FSBO on whatever, Zillow, Craigslist, and you see I got a FSBO right here. So if I click on this, what does that mean? This is a good question, Linda. I think we're going to be building out to make this easier for everybody, but this is how you do it right now. Okay. So I've already created a listing presentation for a FSBO. It has the picture of their home, it has their address and their name on the cover. Okay. So you see this up here, this web address, copy that, email it to yourself, open that email on your phone, copy that link and text it. Now, some people have computers where they can text right from their computer, but that's the hyperlink at the top, Linda. Do you see that? I've highlighted it up here. So that's how you do it. You copy and paste. Yeah. What do you think should be our ad spend, as that can get costly? Yeah. Karen, let me ask, are you a new agent? I can't remember. There's a few people. Let me speak to that. Okay. Because it kind of depends on what you're looking for. Okay. If I'm talking to a totally new realtor, and I know that there's one, I'm not sure, Karen, if you're brand new. I know there's another one, it's kind of a new agent. I typically recommend a $200 a month budget on Facebook. And here's why. I'm going to, while we're at an open house, because if you're a new agent or even a long established, because you're going to meet more homeowners. If you need a team account or a broker account, you want to reach out to me, Vincent, at Listings to Leads. I set those up. And I just set up an office in Southern Florida. This woman has like 15 agents. She owns her own office. And, I did some rollout calls and I told her, like, you got to do open houses. And she's come back and said, literally, we have never spoken to so many homeowners as we have since we started doing this. And that's where you all want to be, right? You don't want to be collecting online leads. You want to be meeting and knowing homeowners, and you want them to know you. That's what our open house and our listing presentation is all about. So Karen, you're not a brand new agent, right? So I'm going to speak to this a little bit to give you some things that you have to think about. If I talk to a brand new agent, I'm going to assume you don't have a large budget. And that's why I tell you, run 4 $50 ads, one a week, right? So that's $200 a month. You see how mine is sponsored by my business page, Walnut Creek Real Estate. Yours is Karen, the Rockstar Realtor, right? And when you run an ad, every time you run an ad, it's seen by like 800, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, depending on your budget and what you're doing, right? So if you're running an ad, a $50 ad every week, your business page will be seen between 5,000 and 8,000 times every month. And you got to ask yourself, where is anybody knowing that you're a realtor? Only your closest friends and family know you're a realtor. Doesn't mean they're going to give you business. Probably not. That's really the unfortunate, concept, but not everybody's ready to buy and sell all day long, right? You don't have, it doesn't work. Your sphere of influence does not always feed you real estate business. But when you're running ads, people are recognizing that you're a realtor. And of course, you're capturing leads. So here's the question that I think helps answer, what should that budget be? Somewhere in the mastermind group, I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, and this isn't our Facebook class, but it's in our mastermind group. Scott did the analysis on lead cost, and buyer leads cost, I think, about $3.25 each. So you're spending $325 a month on buyer leads. You're going to get 100 leads every month, right? So that's $300 on buyer leads, right? I can't remember. I just saw it last week. Scott was sharing it here. So maybe we can email Scott and find out. If you're running ads for sellers, like with a just sold ad, those leads cost about $7 to $8 each. Okay. So if you're trying to get seller leads with sold ads, which are some of the cheapest leads you can get from Facebook for sellers, those are about $7 to $10 each. Okay. And I want to show you this, because this is one where agents really like to, they like to run this ad, because if you want seller leads and you haven't bothered taking a class with us, you might go, oh, landing pages. Yes, yes. Home value, free home value. Yes, I want to run an ad. Let me show you what happens and why this often doesn't work well the way that agents want it to work. Okay. They click on Facebook and Instagram, and we grab their software and they do traffic ad because that's how we have it default set. I don't recommend traffic because when you put people to this page and you ask them for their address, they'll give it to you. When you click this button and then it says, great, we need your email address, they won't give it to you. Some will, but some won't. So you might end up spending $50 on ads and getting simple mailing addresses. And that might not be a great way to convert a lead, right? When you don't have a phone number and you don't have an email. So you got to figure out what's their contact information. That's why when you're going to run this ad, please change this traffic to lead ads. And that means when they click on it, like I showed you before, you get their name, email, and phone number. And now you know how you can kind of start to work with that name, email, and phone number, right? So I definitely recommend that. But you notice how it's a $50 ad? Well, Facebook sets the price of your lead. And this kind of ad, that kind of look has been very popular for well over 10 years now. Companies like Bold Leads, all kinds of companies create these. If you remember the old days, was it Greg Proctor had this page, or I know Prime Seller Leads and Home Value Leads. There were companies that just would sell you that landing page and say, hey, go run ads, right? So you would think, okay, I got to, run an ad on my favorite town, right? Because Facebook knows agents love those leads and they want to run that ad, those leads cost $15 each, kind of at the minimum, okay? They can easily cost $20 each. So your same $50 is going to get you, I don't know, 2 or 3 leads instead of 7, right? So that's kind of like a big deal, right? So it's not how much do you want to spend, it's what's that mix? Are you going to go after buyers and sellers, and what's that kind of divide out, how many leads you're going to get? If you're an agent that juggles 2 or 3 listings at a time, I would probably be suggesting a $400 to $500 a month budget. Just listed ad, open house ad, just sold ad, maybe running a PDF guide ad, right? Maybe running a home value ad like this, but you're rotating those listings. So you want to market and get those people engaged in conversations. Yeah. So Victor's got a good question. Would you advertise your listing presentation in the social media platforms? Yes, I would. And I actually just helped somebody last week do that. And we're not seeing it happen too much because agents are not taking all the classes and learning that you can do that. But if you go to listings and you go to listing presentation and you go to Facebook and Instagram ads, we've made it. But I definitely want to talk about this because what's happening here. Okay, let me explain to you why. You see this cool video? You remember this? I was showing it to you earlier. It's like a video of the stuff there, right? This does not get name, email, and phone number because it's really designed to show the video over and over and over, right? If I change this to lead ads, that video disappears. We'll give it a second. And it has a static image. The language up here is the same, learn how to sell your home. But the actual, you're going to get name, email, and phone number because you've got lead ads on it now. And I would definitely do that. Yeah. You can share this right here. It says social media posts. So Victor, you can connect your social media accounts and share it for free. And it looks just like the ad, and they can download it. We drive them to a page where they can go download that, but they do have to give you their contact information. So there's a free way to get it on your social media through here, and there is a paid way from an ad. And I would be doing both. I can tell you guys, the short story is however you can get this in a compelling way, this listing presentation, whether it's in your hand and you're door knocking, even when you remember the call I was talking about with Leo, he said, I take these to my local cafe and they let me leave them there. I started the call talking about a gentleman in our mastermind group named Leo, because Scott and I just did an interview with him this morning, because he's telling us he has 10 listings in 10 listings in 10 weeks. Let me tell you this. He has 2 to 4 listing appointments every week. Okay. Which is pretty awesome. I don't know if you guys are doing that. I think you'd like to be doing that. And what I can tell you, Leo is doing videos. He's even. I asked him, like, because I've seen his videos because he's been in the mastermind group for a while, and I said, "Hey, how are you doing that? What kind of equipment?" He said, "Really, I do that with my phone." He says, "Now I have a phone, like a holder, and I have a tripod for my phone now." And he says, "But I even just tell my wife, like, hey, I want to do a video in a couple of days. Will you just come and do it?" It doesn't take long, because he says, "I write the script, I read it, I know. I'm not wasting a lot of time here." But again, Leo's goal is to get 40 of these into his market for expireds, and 40 of these standard, meaning no expired on the cover. Just how do we sell your home? He's getting 80 listing presentations in his market every month. He has 2 to 4 listing appointments every week. I think that's probably a pretty good, strategy. He does have an awesome follow-up campaign. We talked about follow-up campaigns. If you don't want to build your own, you can go to our support team, or probably look in the mastermind group, and you'll see that we're doing kind of a done-for-you service to build out that drip campaign. So you can just get the leads, maybe reach out with a phone call, but then the emails and the texts start getting built out for you, so you don't have to do that. If you're great at working in your own CRM and doing that, then definitely develop that. Leo here, he developed his own. We did not do this for him. He's getting his own results from his own work, right? So his video, I think is really good. We just did it together. He's only been in the industry for 5 years. Okay. He's not like a big, 10, 20-year player. 5 years. He's from one of our office accounts. So I have, when I set up an office, there might be 50, there might be 10, 5 agents, or there might be 1,000. I don't talk to every agent that's in our office. He's just been really vocal in the mastermind group. And so he shot a message to Scott and said, "Hey, I've got like all this business." And I can tell you, from listening to that call, he is running ads on open houses, and he is getting 80 of those listing presentations into his market, and he's holding open houses, and he's got great follow-up. I'll tell you that. So any other questions? First of all, thank you. And secondly, I'd really like your feedback here on this call. I hope this helped you. I'm going to send this to everybody right now, and I'm going to send you a few things right now, but I appreciate it if you open up this link I just said. It's just a little survey, a few questions. Like to know if this is helping you, if there's something else that you need. But I also want to send you this, which is our YouTube channel. And I'm going to point out that I think everybody on this call should watch. Okay. Now, this is the videos page. Nearly 1,000 videos on here. There's 869. It's a lot. Because Scott and I do classes all the time, right? We have for years. But I want you to go back a few months to November. Remember when I was pointing out the people on our homepage? The videos are fun when we do it today. And they're from really crushing it with our listing presentation, our expired marketing. And I'm going to point out one right here. I didn't mention her today. This is Gwen. You see how she says, "I got 3 listings and 2 active buyers"? Gwen signed up in September of 2025. And I had a few phone calls with her. Okay. And we talked about, oh, you got to do this and that. You got to get on the expired calls, blah, blah, blah. And she was on the expired training call. I would watch her. I'd hear her questions. I'd see her questions in the mastermind groups. And I could tell for the first few months, she really was struggling on trying to understand what was going on. At the end of December, she comes in to the mastermind group and puts a video and says, "Hey, I got 3 listings and 2 buyers from your system. Just keep working. It works. Now here, this is the third week of March. We're talking the 23rd. And I'm looking 3 months back, and you can see Scott Murray here. Scott Murray is at EXP. He's been in the industry for 20 years. He is real comfortable door knocking. And if you are comfortable door knocking, or even if you're not, you should watch, because he does give really a little bit of the strategy of how to reach these homeowners that are expireds and how he approaches the door. And honestly, he added 2.7 million in his listing pipeline in 3 days of door knocking. This is the lady also on our homepage, Terry Ann, who was in the Coast Guard for 20 years, had been a client for 1 day, was in the trial period, not even paying us, and she closes a listing. She has not been a realtor at that point for really more than a month. And then down here, this young lady, JJ, is also on our homepage. And I mentioned she's kind of fresh out of high school, and she has 4 listings in 6 weeks. So we talked a lot about her. But I would recommend watching all these, because I think if expireds are big in your market, you need to understand how to get them. Now, this is a great call. This is 5 months ago. It's with John Summers, who is also on our homepage. Okay. But this is not the call on our homepage. In this call, John says, hey, I leave voicemails. I wait 3 months and I leave a voicemail, and like 2 or 3 people call me back out of 5 phone calls. Okay. And his call is really simple. And if you want to hear the call, you'll hear it right there. It's simple, like, hey, I just want to introduce myself. I saw you were trying to sell your home, and I am a realtor. I'd love to shake your hand, just meet you, say hello, and give you this: how to sell your expired home. That's it. You'll tell from that video right there that they turn into hour-long discussions. Come in our house and let's talk about this, right? That was in 5 months ago. Okay. That's how old that is. If you go to our homepage, he's on the top of this page. And this was from January 14th. Okay. Because he came in, he sent us a video. Hey guys, I just got to tell you, I've got 2.2 million in listings signed in the first 2 weeks of January. In the video I showed you on YouTube, he told Scott and I, my goal in November is to get 10 of these in my market every week. So he's got to find the listings. He's going to call them and get these in 10 homes every week. And you see what happened in January? He's got 2.2 million in new signed listings. He has been a banker for 20 years, a realtor. In April, which is in a week, he will be a realtor for 2 years. And his business is just exploding. If you're new to the industry, or even if you're not new to the industry and you want more listings, take a look around your market and see if expireds are happening. And if they are, take our webinars, take our workshops. If you want my email on how to work an open house, I have a 5-minute video and a list of the tools you need in an open house. Email me at Vince@ListingsToLeads. I'll send you my email right now. If you need a team account, email me at Vince@ListingsToLeads, or a broker account. And just if you have questions, feel free to let me know. I have a really solid email on expired marketing. It has these 3 people's videos that I'm talking to you about right now. I have a video on how to create a unique custom listing presentation. It takes 4 minutes to watch that video. I have another email on open house marketing. And what's the 4th one? Oh, how to run a Facebook ad. Yeah. But Scott does all those calls in depth. Start at the top. I really honestly recommend that every new client goes through just a couple of rows here, 2 or 3. You will totally know what our system does. And if you start at the top, you're seeing the most current view of our system, because we're adding new tools. We're getting feedback every day. I recommend that to everybody. I hope this has been helpful to you. Please, if you have a moment, fill out the survey. Don't forget, the top 4 things that are going on for all of our clients are: 1 is expireds, 2 is open houses, 3 is our listing presentation, and 4 is Facebook, right? And all 4 of those things you can leverage to get more listings. We have in-depth training on all these things. Take advantage of them and have a great 2026. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, oh, Jesus, I'm running long already. Are there any questions I can answer for you? I'm happy to just hang out and have a sip of coffee. Otherwise, thanks so much. I will tell you this before I go. All of those links that I just sent you, they are inside your account at the top marketing calendar page under the tab that says resources right over here. And that's where you'll see our YouTube channel. You'll see our Facebook mastermind group, our Instagram account, and you can sign up for our classes, right, including those expired work. It said, oh yeah, Aaron, yes. So Aaron, everybody, I think Aaron, you're new to us, right? Every agent has a PDF guide section, okay? And there are 80. All these PDF guides are about 5 or 6 pages long, and 40 are for buyers and 40 are for sellers. I would recommend choosing 3 buyers, 3 sellers, different topics, whichever ones you want. And like I was talking to somebody last week and they're saying, whoa, short sales are becoming a big deal in our market. Well, if that's true, go click this one. Oh, you're with Lake Norman. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then you probably are hearing about John Summers. He's from Lake Norman. Well, when you click on marketing tools for a PDF guide, they each have a print flyer. And you can get them in a horizontal format or this format here. And what's nice about it, anytime you do anything in print, we have a QR code automatically built in. Okay. So if you've got these printed and he is crushing it. Yeah. He's, we're really excited to see that. We love to see our clients just go off. And so that's great. He's taken some time to really understand what we're doing, and he is leveraging it, to its fullest. So here, Aaron, this is, yours are branded to you, your logo, your headshot, your contact info. Pick 6 different topics, order some acrylic tabletop stands from Amazon or what do you call it? Go to FedEx or Office Depot or Staples, and then just have those in your car ready for any open house. Boy, that's the thing I recommend to everybody, but especially new agents, because especially this, like, you got to think about this from in the aspect of farming, right? If you're farming an area, like a lot of you live in an area where you want to dominate that area, like you live in a neighborhood or a town and you hate the fact that there's some realtor who's just dominating your neighborhood, right? Hold open houses. Meet homeowners the way that we hold open houses so that you can take control of your own farms, your own markets. Okay. Yeah. Have a great day, everybody. We've got a fantastic support team down here in the bottom left. They are really fast. Scott and I are available, but every once in a while I see support questions going in the mastermind group, which is cool. Sometimes agents jump in and answer the question, or Scott and I, but our support team gets everything. And if they don't know, they send it to Scott and I, and we get that too. So have a great day. Be up in the mastermind group. So take care, everybody.